My son called me last Tuesday morning to tell me I couldn't come to his wedding. Just like that. 33 words that changed everything between us. I hung up, made myself some tea, and decided to show him exactly what happens when you push your mother aside. If you're watching this on Granny's Voice, hit subscribe and tell me where you're from in the comments. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Dorothy Chen. I'm 60 years old, and I used to teach music at Lincoln Elementary for 35 years. 3 days ago, I became the grandmother everyone's talking about online. It started when my phone rang early Tuesday. "Mom, we have to discuss something important," my son Michael said. He sounded nervous. "What's happening, sweetheart?" I asked, setting down my morning coffee. "Brianna and I talked all night about the wedding guests," he continued. "She's really worried about making everyone comfortable. You understand how brides feel, right?" I knew exactly where this conversation was heading, but I stayed quiet. "The thing is, Mom, Brianna thinks it would be better if you didn't attend. She says you both have different ways of seeing things, and she doesn't want any tension on her special day." 29 years I raised Michael by myself after his dad left us for someone younger. I worked extra hours teaching piano lessons so he could go to summer camp. I sat through every soccer game, every school concert, every parent meeting. For 2 years, I watched Brianna slowly pull him away from everyone who loved him. His childhood friends stopped calling. Sunday dinners became monthly, then stopped completely. And now this. "I see," I said, keeping my voice steady even though my heart was breaking. "And you think this is fair, Michael? Please don't make this harder, Mom. It's only one day. We can have a nice lunch together after they return from Hawaii." "Sure," I replied quietly. "I understand perfectly." The relief in his voice made me feel sick. "Really? Oh, Mom, thank you for being so understanding about this. I knew you'd get it." After the call ended, I walked to my refrigerator where the wedding invitation hung with a magnet. Beautiful cream paper with gold letters announcing that Brianna Foster and Michael Chen would marry at Ocean View Resort next Saturday. The same invitation I'd driven across town to help them mail because Brianna said she'd hurt her wrist at yoga. I took it down, tore it into tiny pieces, and threw it away. Then I opened my computer and started planning. You see, Brianna didn't know something important about me. I might be 60, but I understand technology better than most young people. After 35 years dealing with school drama and parent complaints, I'd learned how to document everything. Brianna Foster was about to learn that excluding the wrong grandmother can have consequences she never imagined. First, I needed help. I called my younger sister Patricia at 8 o'clock the next morning. "Dot, why are you calling so early? Is everything okay?" "Everything's terrible. Michael told me I can't come to his wedding." Patricia made angry sounds. "That ungrateful child, after everything you sacrificed for him." I explained the whole situation while she listened. "So what's your plan?" She asked when I finished. "Because I know you have one. You get that dangerous tone when you're plotting something. I need you to help me watch someone. Brianna Foster, 27 years old, works at Davidson Advertising downtown. I need to know what she does every single day." "Dorothy Chen, what exactly are you planning?" "Nothing wrong, just watching and learning." There was silence on the phone. "This is about more than just the wedding, isn't it?" Patricia understood me perfectly. For 2 whole years, I'd watched Brianna separate Michael from everyone he cared about. She told him his friends were childish and held him back. She said I was old-fashioned and didn't understand their modern relationship. Every holiday became a battle about whose family to visit. Every family gathering included Brianna making little comments about my cooking, my house, my opinions. I stayed quiet because I didn't want to lose my son. Guess what? I lost him anyway. "Patricia, what if I told you I saw something interesting on Saturday?" "Tell me everything." "I was having coffee at Morrison's Cafe on Saturday morning, just sitting outside enjoying the sunshine, and I saw Brianna meeting someone, a man who definitely wasn't Michael." Patricia gasped. "Please tell me you got photos." I have 42 minutes of video showing Brianna being very friendly with a stranger, 3 days before her wedding. The truth is, I'd been following Brianna for nearly a week. Something about how confident she sounded when she answered Michael's phone that terrible Tuesday night bothered me deeply. She was too sure of herself, too certain she'd won. I've learned that people hiding secrets usually show their true self when they think nobody's watching. You recorded her cheating. My smartphone takes excellent videos. And I think someone should share the truth with my son. Patricia laughed the way she used to when we were kids planning adventures. What do you need me to do? Meet me at Riverside Shopping Center tomorrow morning. We're going to buy the perfect wedding gift. Thursday morning, Patricia and I met at the shopping center like two regular grandmothers planning a birthday party, instead of what some people might call strategic truth-telling. What's our excuse if someone asks questions? Patricia wondered as we walked past the fountain where teenagers were making videos on their phones. We're shopping for wedding presents. Very thoughtful, very personal wedding presents. We'd driven past Davidson Advertising earlier that morning, watching Brianna's schedule. She left for lunch at 12:15 every single day and came back at 1:30. The nice receptionist told Patricia, who pretended to want to send surprise flowers, that the tall man from the cafe video was named Derek Martinez. Derek owned a gym 3 blocks from Brianna's office. Married, according to his social media. 2 daughters, wife named Lisa who posted inspirational quotes and family pictures constantly. This is getting complicated, Patricia said as we sat in a coffee shop across from the gym. Actually, it's getting simple. Look. Brianna came out of the gym at 2:45 wearing expensive workout clothes. Her hair looked perfect, like she hadn't actually exercised. She checked her phone, looked around carefully, then walked to a silver car parked behind the building. Derek appeared 5 minutes later, casual as anything, and climbed into the passenger seat. They're not even trying to hide it, Patricia whispered. Why would they? Who's going to notice? Brianna convinced everyone that I'm a jealous old woman who resents her son's happiness. Michael would never believe anything bad about his precious fiancée. The silver car drove toward the residential area. I'd already followed this route twice before. They went to a small townhouse on Elm Street, number 17, where Derek apparently kept a second home that his wife knew nothing about. We're following them, right? We're taking a nice drive. If we happen to see something interesting, that's just good luck. 20 minutes later, we parked my car down the street watching Brianna and Derek disappear into the townhouse. I wrote down the time in my notebook. 3:22 in the afternoon. According to my previous observations, they'd been doing this for at least 2 months, every Tuesday and Thursday like clockwork. Dorothy, what will you do with all these videos? I looked at my sister, remembering how she held my hand when Michael's father abandoned us, how she helped me through every difficult moment raising my son alone. Patricia was there for every birthday party, every school performance, every milestone that mattered. Now my son was marrying someone who thought I wasn't worth including in his life. I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve, a wedding memory they'll never, ever forget. After Patricia left, I spent Thursday night on my computer editing videos like a professional filmmaker. Modern technology might confuse some grandmothers, but I'd taken online courses and learned from YouTube tutorials. The skills I developed making school presentations transferred perfectly to creating what I now called my special wedding gift. My doorbell rang at 6:30 Friday evening. Michael stood outside holding flowers and wearing a guilty expression. Mom, can we talk? I let him inside, noticing how he wouldn't look at me directly. He headed straight to my kitchen where we'd had every serious conversation since he was little. I brought your favorite flowers, he said, putting them on the counter. Gilt flowers, this must be important. He looked embarrassed. I know yesterday was difficult. Brianna feels terrible about how things happened. I'm sure she does. The thing is, her family is very traditional. They have specific rules about wedding ceremonies and guest lists. Her grandmother especially is very particular about these things. Each lie came easier for him. I'd actually met Brianna's grandmother once. A wonderful lady who told me she was thrilled Brianna found someone with such a caring mother. That conversation apparently never reached Brianna. "Michael, sit down." He sat on the kitchen stool looking like a guilty child. "Mom, please don't make this about you. It's their special day." "You're absolutely right. It is their day, and I want everything to be perfect for them." Relief washed over his face. "Really? You're not angry?" I reached across the counter and squeezed his hand. The same hand I'd held through doctor visits and school programs and disappointments. "Sweetheart, I only want you to be happy. That's all I've ever wanted." "I love you, Mom. You know that, right?" "I know, honey." After Michael left, I returned to my computer. The video was nearly complete. 4 separate files showing everything. The cafe meeting, the gym visits, yesterday's townhouse trip, and some very interesting audio recordings. I'd also created several social media accounts. Not for me, obviously. I was just a heartbroken grandmother excluded from her grandson's wedding. But my friend Carol Henderson, whose profile I'd built carefully using stock pictures and a believable background story, had quite a following already. Carol was a wedding planner who believed in honesty and truth. She posted beautiful quotes about love and loyalty. She had strong feelings about faithfulness and respect in marriage. People really connected with her content. Tomorrow, Carol would attend a beach wedding as a regular guest and happen to record some very interesting moments. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Thanks for understanding, Mom. You're the absolute best. See you after we return." I typed back, "Have a beautiful wedding, sweetheart. You deserve everything that's coming to you." Every single word was completely true. Saturday morning arrived perfect for a beach wedding. Sunny, warm, gentle breeze blowing. I dressed carefully in a light purple dress and comfortable walking shoes. I grabbed my professional camera and drove to Ocean View Resort. The parking lot was filling up with wedding guests. I recognized several people from Michael's college days and Brianna's work friends. Everyone looked excited and happy, taking pictures and fixing their hair before the ceremony. I parked near the back and watched the preparations. The ceremony would happen on the beach at 3:30. Reception in the resort ballroom afterward. I'd helped Michael plan so many details back when I was still invited. At 1:30, I walked into the resort lobby like I belonged there. Nobody questioned a nicely dressed grandmother with a camera. Wedding photographers were common at beach resorts. "Excuse me," I asked someone working at the front desk. "Could you tell me where the Foster Chen wedding preparation rooms are?" "Of course, ma'am. The bride's party is in the sunset room on the 2nd floor. Just follow those signs." I took the elevator up and found the hallway busy with activity. Bridesmaids in yellow dresses rushed between rooms carrying flowers and makeup bags. The groomsmen were in the sunrise room across the hall, and I could hear Michael's voice through the door laughing with his friends. For just a moment, I almost changed my mind. He sounded so happy, so excited about his wedding day. This was my son's wedding, regardless of everything else. Then Brianna's voice carried clearly from the bridal room. "Thank goodness we didn't invite his mother. Can you imagine? She would have found some way to ruin everything. The woman still dresses like it's ancient history." Her bridesmaids laughed loudly, and I heard one say, "At least you won't have to see her much after this." Living across the country will help with that. Across the country, they were moving. I stepped closer to the door, pretending to check my camera settings. "Michael doesn't know yet," Brianna continued. "I'll tell him after the honeymoon. I got offered an amazing job in Seattle, and honestly, it's the perfect excuse to escape all his baggage. His friends are immature, and his mother is just needy and pathetic." Another voice asked, "What if he doesn't want to move?" Brianna's laugh sounded cold and mean. "He'll do whatever I tell him to do." "He always does. The man is completely under my control." I'd heard enough, more than enough. I walked back to the elevator, rode down to the lobby, and went outside to wait. The wedding would start in 2 hours. Derek Martinez would be attending as Brianna's colleague from work, a according to the guest list I'd helped create months ago. This was going to be very interesting. At 3:15, I positioned myself on the public beach area, close enough to record everything clearly, but far enough away to avoid being recognized. The wedding party lined up as guests took their seats on white chairs in the sand. Michael looked handsome in his cream suit. Brianna was beautiful in her designer dress. The person performing the ceremony began with words about love, commitment, and honesty. I started recording every moment. The ceremony was absolutely beautiful. I'll admit that much. Michael's eyes filled with tears when Brianna walked toward him on the sand. The vows were traditional but touching. Even I felt a little emotional watching my son promise to love and honor someone who, in about 2 days, would become the most hated bride on the internet. After the "you may kiss" moment, guests moved to the reception inside. I followed at a distance, filming everything carefully. The cocktail hour, the dinner, the speeches praising Brianna's sweetness and Michael's luck finding such a wonderful woman. Then came the dancing portion. Brianna and Michael had their first dance to a romantic song. So perfect, so beautiful, so completely ironic considering what I knew about the bride's secret activities. At 8:45, I noticed Derek Martinez approaching Brianna during a slow song. They spoke briefly, and I watched her glance around nervously before following him toward the beach exit. I slipped out a side door and positioned myself behind some beach plants with my camera ready. The sound wasn't perfect outside, but the pictures were crystal clear. Brianna and Derek walked to a private spot about 40 yards from the reception area. Even from a distance, their body language was unmistakable. This wasn't just casual conversation between work friends. He kissed her. She kissed him back for several long minutes while her new husband danced with friends inside, completely unaware of what was happening. I recorded every single second. When they separated, I heard Brianna say, "2 more hours and we can disappear." I told Michael I'm getting a headache. "My room's all ready," Derek replied. "Lisa thinks I'm away on business until Monday." "Perfect. One last celebration before the honeymoon trip." They walked back separately. Brianna first, then Derek 5 minutes later. I waited until both were inside before heading to the parking lot to upload everything to my laptop. 3 hours later, I was home with a memory card containing 2 hours of Brianna's wedding day, plus the earlier videos from the cafe, gym, and townhouse. I'd also recorded several audio clips that would provide perfect background. I made myself chamomile tea and opened my laptop. Carol Henderson had been very active all week building excitement for her special wedding project about revealing truth in modern relationships. Her follower count had grown to 43,000 people eagerly waiting for her next post. I looked at my clock. 1:58 in the morning. In 4 hours, Michael and Brianna would be flying to Hawaii for their honeymoon. By the time their plane landed, wedding day truth, when love isn't real, would be trending on every social media platform. I scheduled the post for 6:30 in the morning and went to sleep. 3 days after being told I wasn't welcome at my son's wedding, I was about to give him the most important wedding gift of his entire life, the complete truth. By 8:15 Sunday morning, wedding day truth, when love isn't real, had 3.1 million views and climbing fast. My phone had been buzzing constantly since 7 o'clock, but I was ignoring it while I made breakfast and watched the view count explode. The video was expertly edited, even if I say so myself. It started with gorgeous wedding footage. Michael and Brianna looking radiant, exchanging vows, dancing their first dance together. Then the screen split into 2 parts. On one side, Brianna slow dancing with her new husband. On the other side, security footage from the cafe showing her with Derek 4 days earlier. The audio was devastating. Brianna's voice from the bridal room clearly saying, "Thank goodness we didn't invite his mother. The woman is just needy and pathetic." Then immediately cut to her wedding vows saying, "I promise to honor you above everyone else." The ending was pure perfection. Brianna and Derek kissing on the beach while romantic music played softly in the background, then cutting to Michael inside completely oblivious, laughing and celebrating with his groomsmen. Carol Henderson had written the perfect description. This groom deserves so much better. When you exclude family from your wedding, sometimes the truth finds another way to be heard. My phone rang for the 23rd time. Michael's number again. I let it go to voicemail like all the others. At 9:32, someone knocked loudly on my door. Through the window, I saw Patricia holding a bag from my favorite bakery and smiling like she'd won the lottery. "You brilliant, sneaky genius," she said, rushing past me into the kitchen. "Have you watched the news?" "What news?" She turned on my television and flipped to the local morning program. There was Brianna's wedding photo on screen with a headline, "Viral Wedding Video Exposes Cheating Bride." The news anchor was explaining. The identity of the person who made the video remains a mystery, but the footage has started a national conversation about honesty in marriage and how families are treated at modern weddings. "They're calling you a mystery wedding videographer," Patricia laughed. "Channel 5 wants to interview Carol Henderson, but surprisingly can't locate her. Funny how that works." My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We know this was you. Remove the video immediately or you'll be sorry." I showed Patricia the message. "Looks like Brianna's not enjoying her Hawaiian honeymoon." "What will you do?" "Nothing at all. I'm a heartbroken grandmother who was excluded from her son's wedding. What would I know about viral videos?" The doorbell rang again. This time it was Lisa Martinez, Derek's wife. I recognized her from her social media pictures, but she looked nothing like the smiling woman who posted motivational content. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hands trembling. "Mrs. Chen, I'm Lisa Martinez. I believe we need to talk." I invited her inside, made coffee, and waited quietly for her to speak. "My husband's in that video," she said softly. "I've suspected something for many months, but seeing it like that with the dates and times." She broke down crying. "I'm so sorry," I said honestly. "I never wanted innocent people to get hurt." "You did the right thing," she said through tears. "My daughters deserve better than a father who lies constantly. Your son deserves better than a wife who cheats." "How long has this been happening?" "At least 4 months that I know of." Lisa nodded, wiping her eyes with a tissue. "The townhouse on Elm Street. I found rental paperwork hidden in his office. It's been 7 months." 7 months. Brianna had been planning this wedding, accepting expensive gifts, letting people spend thousands on travel arrangements, all while maintaining a secret relationship. "What will you do now?" I asked gently. "I already called a divorce lawyer. My attorney says the video is solid evidence. Derek's going to lose everything important." She looked directly at me. "Thank you for showing me the truth. It must have been incredibly hard knowing it would hurt your son, too." After Lisa left, I sat in my living room staring at my phone. 24 missed calls from Michael, 15 from Brianna, 8 from numbers I didn't recognize. The video had 5.9 million views now. My phone rang again. This time, I answered it. "Mom!" Michael's voice sounded broken and exhausted. "We need to talk immediately." Michael arrived at my house Monday evening looking like he'd aged 10 years in 3 days. His vacation tan couldn't hide the exhaustion in his eyes or the defeat in his posture. "The entire resort knew about it," he said, dropping into my kitchen chair. "People were staring and pointing. Someone actually recognized Brianna from the video and asked if they could take a selfie with her. Can you believe that insanity?" I poured him coffee and waited silently. Sometimes the best thing a mother can do is simply listen without interrupting. "Brianna's absolutely convinced you hired a private detective. She thinks this was all carefully planned, that you've been following her for months with professional help." "And what do you think?" He looked at me with tired, red eyes. "I think my mother wouldn't do something this cruel just because her feelings got hurt." The words stung deeply, but I kept my face neutral and calm. "Michael, do you think the video shows fake things?" No, God, no, that's the worst part of everything. It's all completely real, isn't it? Every single second actually happened. I reached across the table and took his hand gently. I'm sorry you had to discover the truth this way. Are you? Are you really sorry, Mom? Because part of me thinks you're actually enjoying this whole situation. His accusation hit harder than I'd expected. Was I enjoying it? Watching Brianna's perfect image completely crumble, seeing her lose control of the story she'd so carefully built. Maybe I was enjoying it a little bit. I'm sorry you're hurting, I said carefully. I'm sorry you married someone who doesn't respect you properly. I'm not sorry the truth came out into the open. She claims it didn't mean anything important. Derek was just helping her work through wedding anxiety. The physical stuff was just stress relief from planning. Michael, I understand how it sounds, but people make mistakes sometimes. Marriage is about forgiveness, right? I stared at my son, this grown man who still desperately wanted to believe in fairy tales and happy endings. Sweetheart, she's been having an affair for 7 months. She rented an apartment for secret meetings. She planned to tell you about moving to Seattle after the honeymoon without ever discussing it with you first. This wasn't wedding anxiety or stress relief. How do you know about Seattle? I told him about accidentally overhearing the conversation in the bridal preparation room. His face crumbled as each new detail sank in deeply. She had everything planned out, he whispered quietly. The move across the country, cutting ties with everyone here, with you especially. Yes, the Seattle job offer is completely real. She accepted it 3 weeks ago. She was going to present it as a surprise opportunity you couldn't possibly refuse. We sat in silence for several long minutes. Outside, the streetlights were coming on, and I could hear Mrs. Anderson's dog barking at something in her yard. Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need complete honesty. Okay. Did you make that video? I looked at my son, really looked at him carefully. The little boy who used to run to me with scraped knees and hurt feelings. The teenager who trusted me to help him through his first heartbreak. The young man who called me every Sunday until Brianna decided those calls were excessive. No, I said clearly. I didn't make that video. It was technically true. Carol Henderson made the video. Relief flooded across his face. I knew it. I told Brianna you weren't capable of something like that. Michael, what are you going to do now? I don't know anymore. She wants to work on fixing things. She says if we move to Seattle, we can start completely fresh away from all this drama and chaos. And what do you want? He stayed quiet for a very long time. I want to trust my wife, but every single time I look at her, I see that video playing in my mind. Her laughing about you, kissing him, planning to control my entire life without even asking what I wanted. Then you already have your answer. Do I? Because I feel like I'm losing everything all at once. My marriage, my trust, maybe my relationship with you too if you really did this. You're not losing me, sweetheart. You never could lose me. He hugged me before leaving, holding on much longer than he had in years. I love you, Mom. Whatever happens next, I need you to know that. After he drove away, I opened my laptop. The video had 11.4 million views. Carol Henderson had gained 260,000 followers, and Brianna had been mentioned in approximately 67,000 comments. None of them were supportive or kind. Sometimes the truth is harsh and painful, but it's still the truth. Wednesday morning brought an unexpected visitor to my doorstep. Brianna stood there wearing oversized sunglasses and a baseball cap, looking nothing like the confident woman who'd excluded me from her wedding 5 days ago. Away to be with Derek eventually. I felt an unexpected wave of sympathy for this young woman who'd made such destructive choices. Brianna, you need to be completely honest with Michael about everything, all of it. He'll leave me forever. He might do exactly that, but if you keep lying, you'll definitely lose him, and you'll lose yourself too in the process. She stared out my window for several long minutes without speaking. The video, can you possibly get it taken down? I can't do that, and even if I could, screenshots exist everywhere. It's out there permanently now. So I'm completely ruined then. My career, my marriage, my reputation, everything destroyed because I made some bad choices. You're 27 years old. You're not ruined unless you choose to be. But you absolutely need to stop blaming everyone else and start taking responsibility for your actions. Brianna left without another word. Through my window, I watched her sit in her car for 15 minutes before finally driving away. That evening, Michael called me. Brianna told me about her conversation with you earlier, about Seattle, about Derek, about everything. How are you handling all of this? I'm filing for annulment tomorrow morning. Turns out when your wife has been planning to relocate your entire life without telling you, it counts as fraud in marriage. Relief flooded through my entire body. I'm very proud of you. Mom, I need to apologize for everything, for letting Brianna treat you badly, for excluding you from the wedding, for doubting you when the video appeared online. You don't need to apologize for loving someone, but I do need to apologize for choosing her over you repeatedly. You've never been anything except supportive, and I let her convince me you were the problem in our relationship. Michael, what matters most is that you see clearly now. I do see clearly, and I see that I have the strongest, smartest mother in the entire world. Someone who taught me that actions have consequences, even when I forgot that important lesson. What will you do now? I'm moving back home for a while, if that's okay with you. I need to figure out who I am when I'm not trying to be who someone else wants me to be. Your room is exactly as you left it years ago. 4 weeks after the wedding that broke the internet into a million pieces, I was grocery shopping when a young woman approached me in the produce section. "Excuse me, are you Dorothy Chen?" My heart stopped completely. Had someone figured out the connection between me and the viral video? "Yes, I am. I'm Michelle Park from Channel 5 News. I've been investigating the wedding video story extensively, and I'd like to ask you some questions." This was it, the moment I'd been worried about. "I'm not sure how I can help you." "Well, you're Michael Chen's mother, correct? The groom in the video." "That's correct." Michelle pulled out her phone and started recording. "How did it feel being excluded from your son's wedding?" I looked at this young reporter, probably Brianna's age, eager for her big breakthrough story. "It made me feel sad. Every mother wants to be included in her son's wedding day." "Did you know about your daughter-in-law's affair before the wedding?" I had no knowledge of Brianna's personal relationships beyond what I observed as Michael's mother. "Some people online are speculating that you might have been involved in creating or sharing the wedding video. Any comment on that?" This was the absolute moment of truth. I could lie, deny everything completely, and probably get away with it. Or I could own what I'd done and face the consequences. "Michelle, let me tell you something about being a mother. When your child is being hurt, your first instinct is to protect them. Sometimes that means stepping back and letting them learn from their mistakes. Sometimes it means intervening directly. So you're saying you did create the video. I'm saying that sometimes the truth needs help finding its way to the surface." Michelle's eyes widened. She'd gotten more than she bargained for. "Mrs. Chen, are you admitting on camera that you created the viral wedding video?" I thought about Michael home in his childhood bedroom, slowly rebuilding his confidence and sense of self. I thought about Lisa Martinez, finally free from a dishonest husband. I thought about all the comments on the video from people thanking Carol Henderson for exposing the truth. I'm admitting that I love my son enough to make sure he knows the truth about the person he married, even if it meant risking my relationship with him, even if it meant public attention. Even though it humiliated your daughter-in-law publicly, Brianna humiliated herself with her choices. I just documented it. The interview aired that evening. By the next morning, I was getting calls from talk shows, podcasts, and documentary filmmakers. Justice Grandmother was trending on social media. Opinion articles were being written about maternal instinct, wedding ethics, and the price of truth. Some people called me a hero protecting her son. Others called me vindictive and cruel. I was simultaneously celebrated and condemned, sometimes by the same people. But Michael supported me completely and publicly. She saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life, he told reporters who appeared at our house. My mother saw what I was too blinded by love to see. Brianna, meanwhile, had moved to Seattle to take the job she'd planned all along. Derek was living in a small apartment and working at a different gym after his wife took everything in the divorce. The video had over 67 million views now. Carol Henderson had become an internet legend, even though everyone knew she was really me. And I felt something I hadn't expected at all. Peace. For the first time in 2 years, I wasn't walking on eggshells around my son's girlfriend. I wasn't pretending to like someone who treated me with contempt. I wasn't enabling a relationship built on lies and manipulation. The truth had set us all free, even if freedom came at a significant cost. 7 months later, Michael was doing better than I'd seen him in years. He'd started therapy, reconnected with old friends Brianna had systematically pushed away, and begun dating a lovely woman named Sophie who actually seemed to enjoy my company. The viral video had become a case study in digital ethics classes and a cautionary tale about social media's power. I'd been interviewed by news programs, podcasts, and even a documentary crew. The story had been purchased for a streaming service movie, though I doubted they'd capture the complex emotions behind what looked like simple revenge. But the real vindication came when Brianna called me on a Thursday evening in November. "Mrs. Chen, it's Brianna Foster. Hello, Brianna, how are you doing? I'm different now, better, I think. I wanted to call and thank you." That wasn't what I'd expected to hear. "Thank me. The video destroyed my life, but it also saved it somehow. Does that make any sense at all? Tell me more." "I've been in therapy since moving to Seattle, real therapy, not just the couples counseling Michael and I tried briefly. And I've realized that I was living someone else's version of what my life should look like. The perfect wedding, the successful husband, the suburban house. None of it was actually what I wanted deep down." I sat down, phone pressed to my ear. "What do you want?" "I want to be someone who tells the truth, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I want to be someone who doesn't need to sneak around or lie or manipulate people to feel alive and happy. And are you becoming that person? I'm trying really hard. I ended things with Derek permanently. I told my parents about the affair and the divorce. I'm dating someone new and he knows everything about my past. No secrets at all. I'm glad you're finding your way forward. Mrs. Chen, I need to apologize properly. Not just for the affair, but for how I treated you. You were never the problem. I was just threatened by how clearly you saw through me. Brianna, we all make mistakes. What matters is learning from them. I've learned that you can't build a life on lies, no matter how pretty those lies look from the outside. And I've learned that mothers who ask hard questions are usually worth listening to carefully." After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen thinking about the strange journey that had brought us all to this point. An excluded grandmother, a viral video, a marriage destroyed, lives changed forever. Had I done the right thing? The question had kept me awake for months. Michael was happier and more confident than he'd been in years. Brianna was learning to live authentically. Lisa Martinez had remarried and looked genuinely content in her social media posts. Even Derek, according to mutual friends, was working on himself and trying to rebuild his relationship with his daughters. Sometimes the truth burns everything down completely, but sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen for new growth to begin. The video still played occasionally on social media, usually accompanied by debates about privacy, family loyalty, and the price of justice. But I'd stopped reading the comments entirely. I knew what I'd done and why I'd done it. I'd protected my son the only way I knew how. And in the end, isn't that what mothers are supposed to do? My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Dinner Sunday. Sophie wants to learn how to make your famous pot roast." I typed back, "Perfect. I'll teach her all my secrets." Some secrets are worth sharing with people you trust. Others are worth exposing to protect people you love. The trick is knowing the difference between the two. And sometimes If you're very lucky and very careful, the truth sets everyone free. Thanks for watching Granny's Voice. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your own story in the comments below. Your voice matters too.